everyone, Jebb here, and it is very good to be back, guys. Welcome to the week. Well, not welcome to the week. Welcome to the second day of the week, and welcome to Coffee and Crypto. Today, we're going to be talking about where Bitcoin has been, where it's going in the year of 2022, and we're also going to be talking about how to set up your portfolio to succeed in the year of 2022, because setting up your portfolio in the correct way is actually one of the most important things that you can do to set yourself up to succeed. I call it positioning in business. You want to make sure that you're positioning yourself well. We're going to be talking about that, but also, as always, we're going to be looking at some altcoins, Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're going to be looking at Solana and Polkadot here at the top of the show after our market pulse on CoinMarketCap. Then we're going to be doing some technical analysis on Bitcoin, some shorter-term technical analysis on Bitcoin, because I believe Bitcoin is preparing for either a breakdown or a blast off, and we want to figure out which one is coming. Then we need to talk a little bit about exchange balances and the distribution of Bitcoin. The whales have been reducing their accumulation of Bitcoin, and the retail has been accumulating more Bitcoin than ever, and the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges has massively gone down. Those are two major on-chain metrics that we're going to look at. Then we're going to be doing some analysis on Ethereum, and that's after that we will jump into our discussion on portfolio management. We got a great show lined up for you today, guys. I cannot wait, and we're also setting our predictions for Friday for the HODL Trophy and all the fame and honor and glory that comes with that. But before we get started, I want to introduce all of my lovely, lovely co-hosts and guests. We are joined as always by TA Tim. How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing good. It's like I said, I put in chat. I was very glad to host yesterday. It's fun, but I like this seat, this table.
You did a great job, Tim. I didn't even get to watch the stream, and I know you did a great job.
I had some technical difficulties with my mouse, but it's working.
Oh, you said your mouse. I thought you said with your mouth.
You know what? The reason why we disconnected afterwards, it might have been I thought I disconnected it, but I had attached myself to a VPN, I think. So I think I might have messed with some stuff.
Well,
getting to the computer.
Virtual mouse doesn't work network. Yeah, well,
the mouse messed up, the screen messed up.
Definitely
the screen messed up too. Like, you asked people in chat, we had a couple. I actually felt like of all the shows I'd hosted, I probably organized that one and led it the best, except for the technical difficulties in the morning, in the beginning of it. So
how about Why Bitcoin episode 2? Even before I bring Smay in, because he's the one that edited, I want to ask him. Tim, what did you think about that after it finally came out?
Why Bitcoin 1?
Why Bitcoin episode 1? That was a solid video.
We sat on the couch together at your house.
No, we literally
threw it on.
Kelly, Taylor, my wife, me, Smay, and Caleb sat on the couch and watched it premiere, like it was like we were in the theaters or something.
That's amazing.
And Smay did an excellent job, because it wasn't all the other stuff we do is incredible too, but it was nice because it had such a different flow and look of information. I mean, it looked like it was a professionally edited and shot. It's like watching something on like PBS or History Channel, and you're watching like Real Engineering or something.
Yeah. Really speaking of which, let's bring Smay in. Let him brag on himself a little bit. Good job on the editing, Smay.
Thank you, guys. Man, that was definitely. I had my work cut out for me, but I'm so excited because I get to do it all again this week. So be on the lookout for episode 2 releasing on Friday, guys. Episode 2, then on to episode 3 and episode 4 and so on. So that's very exciting. This is something very exciting. But also, I just want to say real quick before I even introduce the members, guys. This is my first stream. This is Jebb's first stream. This is the first stream where we're all back together.
This is the first stream we're all back together after not being, crazy.
This is a good moment. I'm glad to see you guys in 2022.
I'm glad to see you in 2022 too.
All right, so I would like to shout out some of my favorite people. Jeffrey Fritz, the Bitcoinologist, and Tom Wilkes. You guys are literally the best. Woo. You guys are awesome. Woo. You single-handedly support this channel, and we love you guys.
One for you guys, we would have no reason to be here. Thank you so much to all of our subscribers and members. But I want to bring in T. Shroom and let him brag on himself a little bit, because he's the one that wrote Why Bitcoin, and he's the one that's writing all of them. So shout out to T. Shroom. How you doing, man?
I am doing well. No place I'd rather be than right here, right now. And writing Why Bitcoin has been such an amazing process for me. I feel like I have grown so much, and I have grown in appreciation for those out there who write, no matter what they write. I love writing, and writing loves me. Let's do it.
Writing
2022, baby.
You. Oh, can I just say, because I'm seeing some people say this in chat. Listen, everybody. If you don't know what video we're talking about why Bitcoin is the new gold. A video went out on our channel last Friday. So if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Go look at the watch of the video.
I just put it in the chat. We've been working on this new series for like 2 or 3 months and all the supporting systems, because we're going to be consistently releasing these every single Friday. So be on the watch out for those. Let me introduce Kelly real quick, and then we got to get moving. Kelly, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing excellent, man. I'm so excited, as I always am, for the show today, and also for the last week here in office alongside my compadre here and all my brothers. And then I know you'll be leaving for a spa retreat vacation for 2 months.
That's where he's going.
It's good for my skin.
And I'll be back. I'll be back in New York for a couple weeks. I'll still be doing the show, of course, remotely with these guys, but I'll be back in office sometime around the end of January and February. But and I can't wait to talk about the portfolio management and how we can make sure we get the most out of not only fiat money, but Bitcoin. How do we make our portfolio earn us money on both fronts?
Yep, we want to make sure that we're making the most out of our new gold. And if you want to find out why Bitcoin is the new gold, then we have a video all about that you should go and share with your friends and family, because if they don't understand why Bitcoin matters and why it's worth $1 trillion, that's the video you ought to show them, because it's really going to help them understand. Shout out to T-Shroom, shout out to Smay for writing and editing that. But I'm going to go ahead and tease you the headlines, then we're going to jump into CoinMarketCap. Headline number 1, exchange balances back at historic lows. Massive deal. The reason is whenever people are pulling cryptocurrency off of exchange, that tells us that people are hodling for the long term, because if you move cryptocurrency off of exchange into a hardware wallet, then you do something called reducing the liquidity of that cryptocurrency. You add an extra step that needs to be taken to sell that Bitcoin onto market. You actually reduce the liquidity of your cryptocurrency by a little bit, because you make it a little bit harder to move that crypto. Not by a lot, but you do. So it's a very important metric that we're going to be looking at. Also, major banks around the globe are starting to dive into BTC. It wasn't that long ago, I'm talking maybe 2 years ago, that we were all talking about, hey, the first Bitcoin, the first bank that ever accepts Bitcoin in any way, shape, or form is going to be a big deal. And now it's one of those things that's on page 17 of the metaphorical newspaper, because it just happens every single day. We're going to talk about German banks here in a minute. Former First Lady bullish on Bitcoin, question mark. We're going to look at that as well. And of course, as we've talked about, we're going to discuss how to make the biggest gains in 2022. But let's go ahead and jump on to looking at the biggest gainers of the last 24 hours. You see what I did there? Bitcoin is down by 0.53% over the last 24 hours. If Bitcoin was down by 53%, I would be buying so much Bitcoin, it would not even be funny. It'd be a problem. Like, I would have a problem with how much Bitcoin I'd be buying. Luckily, I didn't do that. Bitcoin is currently sitting at $47,000. Ethereum sitting just shy of $3,900. Binance around $500. Cardano's around $1.34. I believe $1.34 or $1.35. I have to recheck the math, is my average entry for Cardano. So I'm about break even on it right now. I may load up some more here in a little bit. Solana's all the way down to about $172. That's not a bad thing. It bottomed out at $150 not too long ago. Looking at the biggest gainers and losers, ICP, Internet Computer. This is a very popular cryptocurrency that I haven't had a chance to do a lot of research on. I want to. It is up 21% right now. Raven Coin up 19%. Near Protocol up 16%. Phantom FTM, that's a pretty solid project, up 15%. The thing I'm gathering from this is that since Bitcoin is trading sideways and has been for basically the last month, I mean, generally speaking, Bitcoin has been trading sideways since December 4th, a full month ago. Between $44,000 and $50,000. Bitcoin's pretty much been trading sideways. I think a lot of people realize, hey, we're in kind of this accumulation area. So people are not as scared of Bitcoin right now, but they're also not very interested in Bitcoin right now. They're not scared that Bitcoin's going to drop. They're not scared of an altcoin crash, but they're not really looking to necessarily invest as much in Bitcoin as they are in some of these smaller cap altcoins. And I think that's what we're seeing right now, is that because people are bored of bored of the major cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're looking at some of these smaller cap projects, many of which are up 20+% in the last 7 days. But that doesn't mean it's all sunshine and rainbows. SushiSwap is down 7%. It's a solid project. Terra Luna's down 5%. I may buy some on that dip. I've been wanting to load up on some Luna. Avalanche sitting at 107. I'm up about 10% on my investment in Avalanche. I think I bought some around $97, something like that. Kadeena's down 4%. That's a big project you guys really like. And Decred is down 4%. Looking like it could drop out of the top 100 relatively soon. That would be very interesting. I remember when Decred was a lot higher than that. But let's go ahead and jump on to some of our snapshots here on our different altcoins. I want to take a look at Solana. Solana is a cryptocurrency that, as you know, is not necessarily a competitor. The creators of Solana have come out and said they don't want to compete with Ethereum, but it's a competitor to Ethereum. It is a decentralized. It is a distributed network of, it's a cryptocurrency, I suppose I should say, that is a layer 1 protocol that you can build decentralized applications and smart contracts and yada, yada, yada on. It's a protocol. It's in the protocol wars, which I think is what history is going to end up calling the last couple of years and the next couple of years. And it has been performing about the same as the rest of the cryptocurrency markets recently. It topped out on November 6th, right around the time that the rest of crypto did as well. And it recently pulled all the way back down to about $150, and it has recently bounced. The issue that I'm running into with Solana is, one, Solana is a very centralized project. It's not a very centralized project, but there are centralization concerns, I suppose I should say. Number two, it ran all the way up into, what is it, rank number 5 right now? It ran all the way up to rank number 5, $53 billion very, very quickly. So if you're looking for major gains, if you're looking for giant returns, Solana has already brought about those giant returns. You kind of missed the boat if you're trying to get 1,000x on Solana. I'd be surprised if it ever did that again. You know, the time where you made a bunch of money on Solana was back over here, 500% in 40 days. That was great. At this point, it is turning into a blue chip cryptocurrency. The question is, can it sustain it? It is currently sitting above $150. It's also got support here at $160. If Solana pulls back down to between 150 and 160, this is a potential buying area, but just understand that we could double bottom here and break through the bottom and come down to 130. I would be looking at places to purchase Solana if I didn't have centralization concerns, but if you like Solana, then it dropping another $10 or $20 should not scare you. It should actually look like a buying opportunity. But let's go ahead and take a look here at Polkadot also. Polkadot is a very solid project, and that is not the chart I'm looking for. I'm looking for this chart. Here we go. Polkadot over US dollar tether over on Binance is in a similar position to Solana in that it's just had a major correction, had a pretty strong bounce. In this case, it bounced around $23, $24, bounced all the way up to $33, and right now you can argue that it is in a symmetrical triangle pattern just like this. You could say that this is bearish, but to be honest with you, I would say that it's more of in a bull flag right now, which would give it a price target if we just extrapolated here of around $34. Polkadot is such a good project because it is the largest interoperability layer 0 protocol in the cryptocurrency space. It is ranked number 10 for a good reason. Smay's a big fan of it. I'm a fan of it. I've bought some. I forget exactly how much, but I have probably 1 or 2% of my portfolio in DOT. As far as what you need to be looking out for, I would pay attention to this uptrending level of support. It is constituted by these lows over here. We're on the log chart, by the way, on Christmas of 2020, and then also here on July the 20th of 2021. This uptrend is likely to come into play. I would be surprised if Polkadot didn't at some point pull back down in to this uptrend, whether it's, today, tomorrow. It's probably not going to happen today, but whether it happens this month and the next 3 months, we'll probably, just based on the way this works out normally, we'll probably see it pull back down here, and that's probably going to be a very solid buying opportunity so long as it doesn't break that support. If it breaks that support, then you might want to consider jumping out and looking for a lower entry, but if it comes down and test that, I think that'd be a decent buying opportunity. So let's go ahead and take a peek at chat really quickly and see what you guys are talking about, and then we're going to jump straight into our Bitcoin TA here in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, we so someone asked in chat real quick before we get to super chats, 'cause I don't think we have a whole heck of a lot. Someone asked about Atom. We actually did TA on Atom yesterday, so if you do want that, did we have timestamps yesterday on the stream? Yeah. It was a short day. Okay, yeah, there's timestamps, so you can go through. I think we did Atom early, right, Kelly?
Adam was
it was at the beginning of the show. So we did 2 altcoins at the beginning, 2 at the end. So if you want Adam
and
TA,
Ave at the very beginning.
Yeah. So let's go to super chats though. Q. Yeah, this is fun. Cheyenne, I think. Q Cheyenne Bling. Do you agree with that pronunciation? T-Shroom, since you copy and pasted it.
I'll allow it.
Cheyenne
You'll allow
Blank.
that. You'll allow that pronunciation.
That looks like what it is.
God bless you guys. Talk about Polkadot. Well, guess what? We just did.
Yay!
Woo!
Rocket ship, rocket ship, rocket ship.
Wow, the one time he's not on his buttons.
Get on your
Dude,
game.
it took me a second to even process the words you just said to me.
Applause.
All I heard was
All right, One Boys 92. Feeling good today. Feeling good. One Boys 92 said, "What's your strategy for someone who is fully invested but can't capitalize on all the new price points? I'm going crazy wanting to buy
That's
more."
a great
I'm
question.
actually interested in this question too. So.
That's a great
We'll be
question.
diving into that a bit with the portfolio.
We will
stuff.
be talking about more in the portfolio, so we're gonna
tease?
we're not gonna go
put a pin in
fully
it.
into that. We're gonna put a pin in it, but I'll give you a little tease. The best thing that you can do, in my opinion, is to make sure you have not only 2 but actually 3 portfolios. I always talk about the 2 portfolios: you're trading and you're investing. But there's a third portfolio that doesn't get talked about that much, and that's your cash portfolio. It's very important to always have cash on the side. That's why companies like Apple have $250 billion. You heard that right. They normally run about $250 billion of cash, like in a bank account kind of cash on hand, so that they have the opportunity to make investments. What I would encourage you to do is that if you don't have cash on hand, then maybe for the next month, instead of dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, maybe dollar cost average straight into a cash account so that you have a couple $1,000 on the side so you can pick up some of these cryptocurrencies on a dip. It's one of the most important things you can do in crypto is to make sure you have cash on the side, ready to take advantage of opportunities. Why? Because it gives you choices, and you want to make sure that you're able to capitalize on those choices when they come to your decision. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying today's stream, smash the daylights out of that like button. Let's see if we can't get up to 750 likes. We've got almost 1,800 people watching, so thank you guys so very much for tuning in. Let's see if we can't get up to 750 likes. Why? It helps us in the algorithm, helps to boost this stream so that more people will see it. Why would you want to do that? Because we're trying to help you achieve financial freedom through technical analysis, because we want you to live a purpose-driven life. That's where fulfillment really does come from. That's why we're here. We want to see you succeed. So let's go ahead. Do we have any others?
I don't see any other.
No?
Teacher, do we miss any?
I don't see any. Oh, one just came in.
One just came up.
Oh,
All right,
there we
Elliot
go.
Locke said, Tim, y'all rocked it. I've set up a trading portfolio and I'm looking for a good trading site. have an FTX account set up. So question is, in your not financial advice opinion, which one other than FTX would be on better?
I know that Tim would be a huge proponent for Robinhood.
Oh, that's low.
No, you didn't watch the show yesterday. We talked about it yesterday.
Oh,
Is that a feather in your hat?
Yeah. Yeah, there is just such. I'm sure this is not the first time someone said it's just such a misleading name for a company.
It is.
Because they were supposed to steal from the rich to give to the poor.
You're better than that.
It seems like they steal from the poor to give to the rich. But again, I don't think this is the first place you ever heard that.
Wait a second. I feel like while we're on this subject, there is somebody in this room that actually does use Robinhood.
Well, it's how to be fair, T-Shroom, that's how you got into crypto, right? It was through Robinhood because you were used to stocks.
It's how I got into having the rights to the price movement in crypto. But
you didn't get custody, though.
That's how you got exposed to it with your first trading.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, emotionally.
You got a soft spot.
That's how I got into it emotionally.
Well,
you got to do it emotionally.
Real quick, what do you guys think of them implementing wallets? Does that change your opinion?
That's what we talked about yesterday.
I talked about that on Around the Blockchain.
Okay.
No, I talked about that on one show I was on. Them implementing wallets is great. They missed the boat. They could have been one of the first movers in that space. Now they got to compete with PayPal and Venmo and all the credit card companies. They missed a big opportunity there.
They've got the user base.
Regardless, even if they miss the boat on capitalizing it and for them to grow as a company, the fact that they're now going to offer wallets for private custody of your coins, I mean, that puts them up several notches just by doing that. So.
It's true.
I feel bad. We should probably answer his question.
We should probably answer his question.
Trust is earned, not given. I need to see them earn it before I would put any money there.
So let's answer his question though. Yeah. What exchange other than FTX? I personally like Coinbase Pro. I think Coinbase Pro is a solid cryptocurrency exchange. It doesn't have leverage. By the way, that's a good thing. If you're new to cryptocurrency, you shouldn't be trading with leverage, in my humble opinion. If you're experienced in crypto, I have zero against trading with leverage. I don't have anything against leverage. You just need to be careful when you're doing it. But those Coinbase Pro and Binance is a good one, obviously. Binance or Binance US. Kelly, what other exchanges might you tell him?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Coinbase Pro. I traded a lot of leverage several years ago on a number of different sites, and if I were to do leverage, I would do it on probably Bybit or Femex.
Yeah.
But in terms of just standard spot trading, which I recommend until you don't need to ask this question, because if you need to ask this question about what exchange you should be on, I can tell you right now you shouldn't be trading leverage.
That's true.
But yeah, I would start with, don't just start trading on Coinbase.com. Actually go to pro.coinbase.com. It's a lot of people get they misunderstand it. They think they're gonna have to pay to use it. It's the same as Coinbase, except it gives you a professional trading. It allows you to become a market maker, so you can put in limit orders, so you don't have to pay the market. What do you call it? So you don't do the trading fee when you do a market purchase, a market price. So you end up saving a lot of money over the long run, and you actually get to learn about how to input trades and understand the market, because that's the number one thing you need to know if you're going to be actively involved in this and understanding those trading things.
Absolutely.
And there's plenty of content on the internet, and we might have a little something that be cooking up.
We might have a little something that we're cooking up on that. You never know. You never know what we're working on nowadays.
Yeah.
That was a little creepy.
That was a little creepy. I can see like that was definitely a little creepy.
But yeah, so Coinbase Pro, FTX is great. Binance is great. Depends on what region you're in, but Binance.us.
Who remembers Bittrex?
Bittrex is I never.
Are they still around? That was my first exchange.
But KuCoin's great. Also,
KuCoin.
if you want to hop on and get a bunch of
Mt. Gox.
If you want to
BitConnect, right? No, I'm joking. All right, well, let's keep moving on here, guys. We got some Bitcoin TA to jump into. Thank you very much for your questions. We're going to come back to Super Chats here in a little bit, but I want to catch you up to speed on where Bitcoin is and where Bitcoin's going, because remember, we always talk about Bitcoin on this show, but the thing that's even more important than the analysis that we bring you is the teachings that we give you about how important it is to learn how to think, not what to think, and the importance of education and being an autodidact. You know what that means? That means somebody who learns even though that they're not told to do it. They go out and they voluntarily learn. I want to teach all of you guys to be autodidacts. That's something that I would like to think that all of us are. So let's go ahead and talk about some Bitcoin. Now, let's set the stage. Bitcoin, as I said earlier in the show, has been trading sideways for a full 31 days, a full month now. The 4th of last month, December, was when we dropped all the way down to these levels, pulled back down to 42,000. As we talked about in a show last week, Bitcoin is currently sitting on top of a plethora of strong support zones, of strong support levels, and these are creating a zone for us on Bitcoin between about $43,000 and $46,000. The reason that's significant is because Bitcoin right now is in what I would call a rounding bottom. The fact that we have not broken down, but we've not broken up over the last 4 or 5 days tells me that we are transitioning from a downtrend to an accumulation area right here. Not Wyckoff accumulation necessarily, but just regular old accumulation where we're trading sideways. Money's changing hands, weak hands are selling to strong hands, and people are getting ready for a new movement to the upside. That's not a bad thing, that's actually a good thing, because whenever you trade sideways in a region like this, what you do is you actually increase the amount of support that you have on the VPVR. If we look at the VPVR over the last year, you can see that we now have our strongest, largest area of support on VPVR right here in between about $45,000 and $50,000. So when Bitcoin does inevitably go to the upside, as all of the fundamentals and on-chain metrics say that it's going to this year, then we are going to see that turn into a strong support zone. And if Bitcoin ever needs to go back and test $50,000, it's going to have a lot of support to really back that level up. And that's going to be very, very good for Bitcoin, very healthy for the market. So everything that we're looking at right now is healthy in the long term. But that doesn't mean that we're about to blast off and go into a massive uptrend. We need to figure out, are we going to break down or are we going to blast off? That's what we're talking about in the title. So let's run through our technicals and try and find out. First thing I want to show you here is the RSI. As you can see, the RSI hit its head on 50 twice, double topped on it and corrected. It is now trying to creep back up towards 50, but it has not currently gotten there yet. It is currently sitting around 44. And whether or not it is able to...
That's it. Someone's blowing leaves out there.
Somebody's blowing leaves out there. Yeah. Oh my gosh, guys! I thought that was Smay blowing into his mic. I was like, what are you doing?
Okay, I'm not that silly.
Okay,
come on.
Well, let's keep going here. What we're also looking at here on MACD is that MACD is trending to the upside, but it's pretty much trading sideways right now. The reason that that's important is because the MACD trading sideways indicates to us that the market is not necessarily super bearish, but it's also not necessarily super bullish. It means we're trading sideways. It's not a position that, you necessarily want to be in. You want Bitcoin to make some kind of decision, but for right now, that's what we're dealing with. Now, as for the Bollinger Bands, let's go ahead and take a look at those. The Bollinger Bands are relatively constricted right now. They're moving sideways. These Bollinger Bands are telling us that Bitcoin is very low on volatility right now in a similar way that we were very low on volatility right over here. I'll draw your attention to early in mid-July of last year, which is weird to say, of 2021, notice how the Bollinger Bands became very constricted right here. Well, that's what we're doing right now. The Bollinger Bands have become very constricted. And one of the things we know about Bollinger Bands is that whenever the Bollinger Bands are very constricted, then you should be looking for a period of a lot of volatility. And when there's a lot of volatility, you should be looking for a period of low volatility. Markets are cyclical, and they move from being very bullish to being very bearish. They move from being very high in volatility to very low in volatility. They move from being very high in volume to very low in volume, etc. So let's go ahead and jump on down to the 4-hourly chart. And actually, I take that back. Before we jump onto the 4-hourly chart, I want to show you Lux Algo, because Lux Algo is giving us some interesting things. Nothing has changed on the daily chart, but I do just want to remind you of what it's saying, because our strategy with Lux Algo has become remarkably accurate. We have a sell order here on Lux Algo that has been in effect since November 16th. We've been in a downtrend according to Lux Algo ever since then, and that is confirmed because our trend catcher, which is this stair-stepping line right here, is red, and because our Lux oscillator, which we can see down here, has been red for the majority of the time. Now, if we were to see Bitcoin move into an uptrend and we were able to see it break $50,000, move up here into this zone of resistance around 52 to 54, then we would potentially see a buy order come, a buy signal come in on Lux Algo, and that'd be a very bullish thing. That has not happened yet, but I just want you to remember 50 to 54,000, somewhere in there, we would trigger a buy signal on Bitcoin. So if, this is the last show you watch of us, that's one of the things I want you to take away, is I want you to take away 50 to 55,000, somewhere in there. That's going to be a really important, decisive area for Bitcoin, and if it's able to break through it, then it's going to be a very good thing. Now, let's take a look down here at the 4-hourly chart and take a look at some of our technical indicators. One of the things that's pretty encouraging is the fact that the RSI right now is currently breaking through 50. We've actually moved to the upside quite heavily over just the last couple of hours. Over the last 12 hours, Bitcoin has instituted a pretty strong bottom. And there's several things I want to point out here. Number one, the candle wicks. If you look at the candle wicks for 1,500 hours here on the 3rd, 1,900 hours here on the 3rd, and then 2,300 hours here on the 3rd, you can see there's very long lower shadows. That indicates to me that the bears are trying to push the market to the downside, and they didn't succeed. The bulls bought these dips. That's why we look at things like Japanese candlestick analysis. In fact, Japanese candlestick analysis was the progenitor of all technical analysis. It was the foundation of this entire thing, and it originated in Japan from a rice farmer about 300 years ago, and it is very, very important. As far as the candlesticks themselves, though, we can also see that the last two have had pretty long lower shadows, basically no upper wicks. Very excited about that, and Bitcoin is putting into play a pretty strong uptrend right now on the hourly chart. Even just over the last 2 hours, we can see that Bitcoin has rallied $800. It's a very good thing, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. An $800 price movement on Bitcoin is not the end of the world, and it's not the beginning of a massive rally. It is, at the moment, simply volatility. But there is also a downtrend right here on the 4-hourly chart that we're also trying to break out of. So if we stay above that, that will be very good, and we could see like a little bump and run pattern here where it bounces up, breaks down, back tests support, and then rallies. That would be something I would like to see. But the other thing to keep in mind here on the 4-hourly chart is that Bitcoin is currently in a symmetrical triangle pattern that Bitcoin has moved down into. That is a bear flag, or excuse me, it's a bear pennant, and that does give us a price target that you're probably not going to be too happy about at $42,000. I don't think that's going to play out, to be quite honest with you, but I do think that that's something that you ought to know. So I'm about to jump into our Lux algo here on the 4-hourly chart, but I want to bring Tim in here. Tim, do you see that bear pennant down there on the 4-hourly chart? What do you think about that? Do you think that we're going to see a big break to the downside as a result of that, or are we going to bottom out with the triple bottom that we put into play over the last 5 days?
I do think, and I've said this before, I think we're going to have some candle bodies close below what we right now have as kind of a hard level of support at 45,725, roughly in the area. That's where I have it drawn at least. I think that we're going to have a candle body close closer to 45. I don't think that this is a guarantee, but I definitely could foresee a wick that touches 42. But my thought on that is, when I say wick, I'm probably meaning the daily chart. There could be some candle bodies close a little bit more on the 4-hourly and hourly and everything. But on the daily chart, I think that there's going to be a lot of pressure that does put that price somewhat down to 42. As you're saying, that pennant kind of shows it. There's a lot of different things showing it. The last wick that kind of started this whole boring sideways movement, it went down to 42 and then rallied all the way right back up to 47,000. I think that we're going to see a wick touch potentially on 42. So it might not be a bad, we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
It might not be bad to put, like, what's it called when you put a really low buy order in?
What is it? A dream buy.
A dream buy?
Yeah, a dream buy.
Yeah, it might not be bad to put a dream buy in at $42,000 so that when it wicks and touches, you're one of the ones that gets in. And if it never hits, you didn't lose anything, so it's not like you had a problem.
Yeah.
I do think, though, that the bottom's not in. We are rallying right now, and I know a lot of people are excited about that, but think about how many times the price has been dropping while we're live, and everyone's freaking out, and then by the end of the show, we rallied back up.
It's already rallied back up.
And we came back. I like you said, I think a couple minutes ago, an $800 rally is not anything to start freaking out about. There's still lots of descending levels of resistance and flat levels of resistance above us that are going to slow us down. If we can break through those, great. I'd be the biggest fan of that. It's just don't count the chickens before they hatch just yet.
Absolutely, guys. Well, also another thing that I saw somebody mention in chat earlier is that we're back in office, all of us, and we're the Dream Stream team. I like that name.
The Dream Stream team.
This is the Dream Stream team. That's what we are. That's the 5 of us. How about that? That's the name. It's not the A team because that's trademarked, but we're the Dream Stream team.
We might have to swap it to the Stream Dream Team.
The Stream Dream Team. I like that. That's better. That's better. I like that. All right, well, let's keep going here, guys. I want to show you Lux algo down on the 4-hourly chart. As far as I'm aware, it hasn't really updated a whole lot. It's still showing that we're in bearishness, but I want to show you how we could potentially get out of it. So on the 4-hourly chart, I know this is a lot. I know I got a lot of lines on here, but let me just go ahead and show you what matters. This this sell signal on the 10th of November is what matters because this is what said that we're moving into a downtrend. All of these other buy and sell signals have not been confirmed, or if they were confirmed, they were only confirmed for a day or two. And the way that we talk about them being confirmed is through the trend catcher, which is this line right here, and then through Lux Oscillator. That's the strategy that I use. I've spoken to the creator of Lux algo. He thinks it's a great strategy, and it's one of the things that I use to figure out if Bitcoin is in an uptrend or a downtrend or any cryptocurrency. And by the way, if you don't have Lux algo, you should get it. The link's in the description box down below. Now, the important thing here is how do we get an uptrend to actually confirm on 4-hourly chart Bitcoin? Because obviously, if we're going to have a confirmed uptrend on the daily chart, it's going to start on the shorter term time frames. Well, the first thing we would need to see Bitcoin do is we need to see it rally quite a bit. We need to see it get up to probably $49,000 or $50,000 before we saw a buy signal, the trend catcher turn green, and then also Lux Oscillator turn green. But if we saw all 3 of those turn green at the same time, then we would be in a confirmed uptrend. And then what I would like to see is I would like to see it stay confirmed for 3 to 7 days. Why? Well, there's actually been a couple of fake outs here recently on the 4-hourly chart, and that's because technical analysis is not perfect. There is no such thing as a crystal ball. There's no such thing as being able to predict the future with 100% certainty. That's where the wisdom and the experience of the trader and the analyst comes in. There have been a couple of false signals here on Lux Algo, even following my strategy, because my strategy does not give you 100% confirmation, but I have found that it gives you about 60, 70, or 80%, depending on how good you are at figuring out what's a false signal and what's not. We've seen a couple of buy signals that were confirmed by Trendcatcher and Lux Oscillator right here, and then they turned back into strong downtrends. But here's the deal. These were only in play for a day. None of them have been bullish and strong buy signals for more than a day or two. If we see Bitcoin move into a strong buy signal with the Trendcatcher and Lux Oscillator agreeing and confirming each other, and we see Bitcoin trading sideways up here around $50,000, that's going to be a prime time setup for the future of Bitcoin, and you're not going to want to miss that. But with that said, let's go ahead and move on here into a couple of different points. I want to first mention the CBBI. This is the Bitcoin Bull Run Index. This is an index that we've talked about many times here on the channel. We've actually made an entire dedicated video on it a while back. It takes into account, I believe it's 11 different major indicators that you've probably heard of. The Pi Cycle Top Indicator, Rupal/Nupal charts, 2-year moving average, Puel multiple, Rodel ratio, MVRVZ score, reserve risk, etc., 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 Bitcoin search term on Google, and it gives us this chart right here. Now, this was created, I want to say, about a year ago, so this was created in a way that it attaches 100 to meaning the exact all-time high. So you can see the last two all-time highs that Bitcoin ended a bull run on December 4th, 2013, and then also here on December 16th, 2017, CBBI hit 100. Now, you might say, oh, well, Jebb, this was created after both of these all-time highs. And to the best of my knowledge, that is true. But here's the thing. There are two sets of data here. You have two all-time highs that it has, through back testing and back analysis, perfectly aligned itself to, and that gives us a lot of confidence for the future. So if we see CBBI come up here to 80 or 90, and especially if it hits 100, then we are probably going to believe with a lot of confidence that Bitcoin has just hit a new all-time high. But here's the deal. It's currently sitting at 50. The last time that we were sitting at 50, not during this bull market, was back over here right around the time that Bitcoin was trading at about $1,500 to $2,000 when Bitcoin would eventually go to 20. Am I saying that Bitcoin's about to 10x from here in the next 6 months? No, that is not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that this bull run is not over, and this is just one indicator that, by the way, takes into account 11 different on-chain metrics that we show you guys individually all the time, and it is saying that Bitcoin is not done yet, and there's a lot more to go. It'd be very surprising to me if this bull run ended. Now, I also want to jump on over to Kelly Kellum's Twitter. He retweeted something from Willy Woo, or Woonomic right here, on wealth inequality. Given enough time, it's the trend that's important. Bitcoin is heading in the right direction, and fiat is heading for disaster. This is a chart of the last roughly about 10 years. This goes back to about 2011. Bitcoin supply distribution by participants. You can see the whales, i.e. holders of more than 1,000 Bitcoin, have been trending to the downside, and you maybe can't really see the scale over here. We're talking about the amount of Bitcoin in the whales' hands has gone from whales holding about 60% of the Bitcoin to whales holding about 25% of the Bitcoin, maybe 23% of the Bitcoin. It is dropped by like 67% from where it was at the beginning of Bitcoin. Now, what we've also seen is that the retail, i.e. holders of less than 10 Bitcoin, has risen from in 2011 to maybe a quarter of maybe 2.5%, all the way up to about 15%. And then publicly held Bitcoin, exchanges, ETFs, and public companies like a Grayscale or like a MicroStrategy has raised incredibly high. The reason this is important is because it means that the network is becoming more decentralized, not just in the mining, which is where the actual decentralization comes from, but also in the distribution of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, making Bitcoin more equal. And this trend is the thing that will make Bitcoin more susceptible to shocks in the market because there's more holders of it. There's not just going to be one, there won't be as many whales that can just dump 1,000 Bitcoin on the market and cause the market to crash. Will be more, distributed, and that's what we want to see happen. Now, with that said, we're also going to briefly touch on a couple of different articles here. This one's from Cointelegraph. Bitcoin exchange balances trend back to historic lows as BTC withdrawals resume in January. Take a look at this chart right here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and bring it all the way up. Can they see the very right of this, by the way, Smay? They can? Okay. So see this blue line right here? This blue line represents the Bitcoin on all exchanges. So on our right y-axis right here, we can see the dollar value of Bitcoin, and you can see the price action graph of Bitcoin. On the left y-axis over here, you can see the total amount of Bitcoin. So this blue line basically tells us that in September of 2019, there was about, 8, 9 million Bitcoin on exchange. A little while after that, there was 3 million Bitcoin on exchange. And by the way, remember, throughout all this time, more Bitcoin is being mined. So there's more Bitcoin in the market today than there was 2 years ago. There's, 500,000 more Bitcoin now than there was about 2 years ago. But even so, the exchange balance has been massively dropping. Take a look at how fast it dropped after March of last year began. Look at this steep decline from March all the way through the end of 2020. That shows me that people were pulling Bitcoin off of exchange in cold storage to hodl it in case the global economy collapses because of what happened 2 years ago at the beginning of 2020. And it stayed historically low. It went down from 3 million in March, where it had a short spike. People, you can see this little spike right here. People sold a little bit of Bitcoin because they were scared. But then after they realized, okay, the world's not going to just collapse in the next 24 hours, they started hodling Bitcoin. And today, the amount of Bitcoin held on reserves is all the way down to 2.4 million. That is very important because, as I said, the reason that we look at exchange balances so much is because when people are holding Bitcoin off of exchange, it means that they're planning on holding it for a long time. We are currently at a historic low. Now, the data on this graph only goes back about 2 years, but if you look it back even farther, this is one of, if not the very lowest levels that this metric, exchange balances for Bitcoin on the market, has ever been. That's a huge deal. That means people are hodling Bitcoin, and that is very important because when you take supply out of a market and the demand goes higher, which it is, the demand is higher now than it ever has been, and it's increasing. Maybe not in the last month, maybe not in the last 2 months, but in the general trend, it's increasing. When you see that occur, the demand shrinks, the supply increases. What does the market do? It goes parabolic. And I do think that we're going to see a six-figure Bitcoin in the next 6 months. I've been saying for a while that we're probably going to see that happen sooner than you might think. So that's just something to be looking out for. Now, one of the final things I want to mention here, I'm going to open up this conversation for the rest of our Stream Dream team here. It's not just U.S. banks. These lenders around the globe are also sampling cryptocurrency. Let me read you this statement. This is really interesting. 1 in 10 customers of German savings banks has owned cryptocurrency assets. That's a big deal. Kelly, why should we care about people that are more into the traditional financial systems like banking and like, mutual funds and stocks? Why should we care about those people coming into cryptocurrency? What does that tell us?
Well, it's an incredible indicator that not only are the winds shifting in terms of the general outlook globally about what the sentiment is about crypto. I mean, even in the 5 years I've been in, it's worlds apart, and it's about every 3 months the sentiment changes dramatically. And so the fact that we have, and this last year, 2021, was like case in point about this, showing how much institutional money came into the market. We have more money come into the market than we have in every other year combined, just in this last year alone. So, and this is where it gets interesting. If that's the case, and we've already had these explosive gains in the last 13 years, and even also in the last several years. What does that mean when we start getting past the 3%, 4% mark where we're at now of global adoption? We're at such an early stage of adoption in terms of how far we are to grow. And if we start seeing these signals right now where banks around the world and institutional players around the world are getting more and more not only comfortable with this, we have the First Lady, the ex-First Lady of the United States tweeting about it, on Twitter. We have major players from hedge fund gurus like Raoul Pal to Elon Musk to other billionaires. I mean, this is the winds. We're just dipping our toes in now. So honestly, I really just have to say congratulations to any person watching this channel that even owns 0.01 Bitcoin. Heck, because you are so far ahead of the curve. And last thing I'll say, and I think it's in the show prep doc. You might be showing it later, but there's a graphic in there that shows the volatility of oil and other assets compared to Bitcoin. And that's one of the last things that people really have to argue about is the volatility of Bitcoin, and they don't realize that the volatility is the same in a lot of large markets. So we're right there. So hold on, keep DCN, and yeah, I'm just excited.
We want to clip that. That was fantastic, Kelly. I absolutely love that. And by the way, guys, tell us if you would like to see a video in the future going over, some of the major, like the biggest reasons that Bitcoin is about to go into just absolute mass adoption mode. I would love to make a video talking about bell curves and, the S curves and inflection points. You guys have heard me talk about that a lot. When we reach about 13.5% public adoption, we're going to see just an absolute parabolic run like we have never seen before. If you'd like to see a video on that, let us know, because we would be more than happy to do that in the next couple of months, and that's something that I think you would enjoy. Anyway, let's go ahead and move into our next intermission here and check in with the chat. We got $100 super chat. Thank you very much.
We do. But before we get there, Callie Carter makes a great point in chat saying, smash them likes, boys.
Smash them likes. We can get to 1,200 likes in the next couple of minutes. Thank you, guys.
That is a great point. But I would add girls, too, could smash the likes.
Hold on.
Hit the likes, yeah.
This is something. I saw you just now.
What?
You heard that and you considered it, and you decided not to just keep watching the show. Step back. Take a second. I caught you. Go push the like button.
He called you out.
Do it to support the channel.
He saw you.
Honestly,
that's kind of creepy.
If Smage just caught you, you should also hit that subscribe button.
You should hit that subscribe button.
Because you know that we're looking right at you.
Yeah, we're looking at you. I see you sitting there on the couch with your coffee.
Let's read the super chats, though.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll start with that $100 super chat from Joker's Performance, who just want to say Happy New Year's. Here's to the channel's success.
Thank you so much, Joker's Performance. Guys, it was such an incredible year, 2021. If you guys have been around for more than a year, drop a 1 in chat, because the amount of progress we've made on the channel over the last year was so incredibly encouraging. And the reason that we made that progress was because you guys decided to tune in every day and watch the content, support us. So thank you so very much for that. I really, really appreciate it.
And I think, T-Shim, I think we missed a couple, so I'm going to do as best I can to find the ones. But Jason Clark said, what's Jebb's opinion on weekly SMA I mentioned yesterday? So we talked about that a little bit. The fact that, so just to wrap you up to what's happening, look at Jebb on Bitcoin's chart, on the weekly chart. Every time that we close candles below the weekly, we end up spending anywhere between 6 to 12 weeks below the 20 SMA.
20 SMA or EMA?
SMA.
SMA. All right. Well, I have an EMA up. Let me go ahead and grab an SMA.
Yeah, we discussed that a little bit yesterday, but that is, I'm actually interested to see what your opinion on that is too.
Yeah, sure. Give me a second, and I will. I got to get my SMAs up. Why do you? There are like 500 different simple moving. All I want is a single, very simple moving average. That's all I want. Like,
so what I'm going to do for our lovely guru in chief here is I'm going to show him how to set up the templated things, so you don't have.
I have the template up. It's just being stupid because I don't have it in the template. It's not going to show me. All right. Well, you know what? Read another one. I'll get it up. It's being silly.
Brian Dost, and I don't know if Brian's been watching. He said head and shoulders pattern ? Then he also wanted to take a shot at me. He said, Tim, go Canes. Real quick while you're looking at
Canes.
that. Brian, here's what I will say. The Canes are an okay team, but I have never met a team, never seen a team in the history of any sport who gets hype every single year to say they come back and then is not at back whatsoever. Maybe Texas. Miami and Texas, you guys are the same. And that's not a compliment.
So I was being a boomer. I know exactly what I was doing. I was typing in simple moving average instead of just moving average, and normally the indicators abbreviate at moving average. So anyway, I got it up. Here's what we're looking at. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 20 SMA, or the 20 MA as far as TradingView is concerned, and we can look at the last 10 years of data on Bitcoin. What we see is that, as you said, whenever Bitcoin falls below this level, we typically enter a longer-term downtrend. In fact, sometimes it even means you're going into a bear market. This is absolutely true. Here's the deal, though. One, we've already been below it for 5 weeks. Two, I can probably find a couple of examples here where we weren't below it for that long. You can see that we were below it right over here for about, what is that, about 7 weeks here? We're already about 7 weeks in. Let's see. I'm looking at this on the fly because I've done plenty of analysis on the 20 moving averages here. Here's what I'll say to this, guys. $53,000 is the level that I've been telling you based off of all of our other analysis is the level that we need to beat. If Bitcoin can get above that, it will also be getting above this moving average. So that's another reason you want to pay attention to that. And by the way, one of the other things that we've talked about is we've said, hey, I think January, I think Q1 for Bitcoin will be bullish. But the thing is, it might take a little bit longer. Bitcoin might have to trade sideways here for a little bit longer. Like Tim said, we could wick all the way down to $42,000. We could wick all the way down to $40,000, and that would not be the end of the world for Bitcoin. I think the more time Bitcoin spends below this level, the better, because the problem is you want to maintain above this moving average for a long period of time, yes, but we rallied so fast in October of 2020, moving into February of 2021, that we're still sitting up here on this plateau. We're still feeling the effects of how quickly we rallied a year and a half ago. And that's why we say, when in doubt, zoom out. It's very important that you have context. You know, the rally here in 2017 was a lot smoother. We did go parabolic at the end, but we kind of went parabolic at the beginning here, and now we're plateaued up here around $45,000 to $60,000. That's not a bad thing, but we do need to understand that there are going to be some things that are going to break the mold in technical analysis as a result of that. Do I think that just because every time we've been below this, we've spent no less than 12 weeks below it? that's going to happen again? No, I don't think that. One, because we've seen that trend break here in 2013, but also two, there's a lot going on in the market other than just that fact. And if we do spend 12 weeks down here, guys, it's not a bad thing. It is an accumulation area. We're not in a bear market. Moving below the 20 weekly SMA or EMA does not say that we're in a bear market. It does say we're in a prolonged downtrend. That's absolutely true. And this could mean that we'll be down here for a couple more weeks. But I wouldn't put too much stock in. I'd put stock in it, pay attention to it, but I wouldn't be scared of it is maybe the way I want to word that. What do you think about that, Tim?
It's something I'm gonna keep my eye on because again, I didn't.
It's important to look at.
When I looked back, and I didn't look back.
And
at
I've seen it. I looked at it a couple weeks ago.
And any other projects. I told them yesterday on the show that's gonna be something I put into my toolbox.
Yeah.
To keep an eye on. No, I do think we're coming towards the end.
Yeah.
Of again, because what I saw the one I saw was 6 weeks. I saw a couple at 7 weeks. We're currently sitting at week 6.
Yeah.
I don't think that confirms or denies that we could rally this week.
Yeah.
We could keep going for another 2 weeks with it being bearish below the SMA, the 20 SMA.
I think it's actually something I saw in late November when we dropped below there. I can't remember if we talked about it on the stream, but I saw we dropped below this moving average. But anyway, I'm not too scared of it. And also, let me find an exponential moving average here, moving average exponential, and I want to show you the 20 exponential moving average as well, because it is a little bit more snappy and responsive, and it is only sitting at 51,000. So if Bitcoin gets back up above that, that's going to actually be a very strong buy signal. The fact that we're just barely below it is kind of a good thing. It's a silver lining, you might say, that getting above that moving average could give us some explosive growth and movement to the upside. So it's important resistance. That's what I'd say to that. If we have time for one more super chat if we have them, and then we're going to move on into Ethereum.
We have one from Chris Bowser saying, what do you think about sailors suggesting taking 50,000 equity of real estate to buy Bitcoin as an intelligent debt?
Well, I would say first, and you point this out every time somebody asks a question like this, Jebb, it really comes down to your personal situation.
That's what I was about to say.
If you have debt other places, and you're scraping by, and it's good still to get in the crypto game and Bitcoin game, but I wouldn't start leveraging the beginning of your experience with debt. Get to a point to where if you're taking debt, like for instance, MicroStrategy, they have an enormous amount of assets under management. It's not even under management. Their total value locked of what they're holding themselves. So they're taking loans against their own asset as collateral of something they're not going to be hurt if it goes to zero. So if it's going to hurt you if it goes to zero, or if the market drops and then all of a sudden you're upside down on your house and on Bitcoin, don't put yourself in that position.
I would tell you two things. I would say, number one, no matter how you're planning on getting your money, you always have to answer the same two questions. What's your risk tolerance and what's your time horizon? Are you planning on being in Bitcoin for 10 years, 1 year, 20 years, 5 months? Like what is your time horizon here? Are you trying to make a day trade? How long are you going to hold this Bitcoin? Because you need to go into any trade, and an investment that you're going to hold for 10 years is just a 10-year long trade. Just so you know, it's still a trade. We just call it an investment because it's categorized different for taxes, and it also has different strategy that goes into it. What's your time horizon? The second thing is what's your risk tolerance? If you lost that $50,000 and you have an extra $50,000 in mortgage debt, is that something that you can tolerate? And even if you can tolerate it, is that something that you want? So you got to answer those two questions. And the second thing I'd say is that if you're trying to find money and you need to go and take out another mortgage on your home or take equity out of your home, that sounds a lot to me like investing with money that you can't afford to lose, because if you had the money to invest in crypto, you wouldn't have to go and take it out of your home. And the other thing I'll say is that mortgages are actually a form of leverage. People don't realize this. Whenever you put 20% down on a home, you're actually buying the home on 5x leverage, because you put 20% down, but you're getting 100%. 100 divided by 20 is 5, so you're doing 5x leverage on your house. So whenever you take money out of your home with a mortgage, you're actually investing in Bitcoin on 5x leverage. And you don't even realize it because of the way it all works. So I would be very careful about doing that, because, if you already own your home outright, that's another story. Maybe you want to do that, but I'd be very careful about doing that. I don't necessarily agree with Saylor if he said it exactly the way that I just heard it. I don't think that's a good idea in most cases, but it could be a good idea in some cases. For example, if you're a Grant Cardone and you got $1 billion worth of real estate and you want to pull $100 million out and use the real estate portfolio as collateral, that's one thing. That's a little different. I'm talking to the average guy who's worth $150,000. He owns his own home. It's worth $300,000. Something like that. I would be careful about that personally. But with that said, does anybody here have any other opinions on that before we move on?
No, I think you summed up pretty good.
Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on here to Ethereum. I'm going to open our Ethereum technical analysis with that same 20 exponential moving average I was telling you about. This is really funny. Because one of the things we've been talking about for the last 2 months is that Ethereum is holding up better than Bitcoin. What do I mean by that? Well, Ethereum has only dropped 23%, In traditional markets, that would be considered a recession. Bitcoin is currently down 35%. So Ethereum has held its value stronger than Bitcoin. But here's the issue. Ethereum right now is sitting and riding right on top of that 20 weekly exponential moving average that Bitcoin has actually broken below. The reason why I think it might actually be a good thing that Bitcoin has broken below this is because it has allowed Bitcoin to shake out the weak hands. We've dropped farther. We've had a larger controlled burn, so we're more prepared for the next season of growth. Ethereum has not done that. If it does, then the support levels that we've been talking about for a month and a half of $3,300, of $3,000, etc., all those things that we've talked about from Fibonacci, I'll just go ahead and draw it for you right here. You can pause and you can see the support levels right over here. All of these, $2,900, $3,300, $3,700. Those are the important levels on Ethereum right now. If it breaks the 20 weekly EMA, it will probably shock the market, and Bitcoin will take a couple more weeks to go into a big rally, but it might actually be a very good thing, and you could see early altcoin cycle starting, because a lot of people are taking profits from Ethereum, moving them into altcoins. I'm one of the people that did that. I sold like 5% of my Ethereum or whatever, bought a bunch of altcoins so that I can load up some more bags for the new cycle. And I think a lot of people are doing that right now. So I'm not saying Ethereum's going to have a massive drop, but if it does start closing weekly chart candle bodies below $3,600, then you're going to need to watch out for that, because it could pull back down into the low 3,000s. Anyway, as far as the TA is concerned on the daily chart, let's take a look at this. Contradictory to what I just said, it's actually very bullish on the daily chart. We just saw a bullish MACD cross on Ethereum. That's a great thing. We saw a bullish MACD cross even lower than the previous one. I believe this one crossed about 1 point lower, so that's actually kind of a good thing. Looking at the RSI here, you can see that this falling trading channel that we've been watching for the last last month and a half or so, we are currently sitting right below the downtrending level of resistance. That's at 47. If we break that, that's actually going to be a very strong signal that Ethereum could have a movement to the upside. And one thing I'll also mention here on the daily chart is that there is a downtrend right here that Ethereum is under. I'll go ahead and delete some of this charting just so you can see a little bit cleaner. This downtrend right here is what Ethereum's contending with, and there is a good solid chance that it could break bullish. You can see there's a green-red-green formation coming into play here. We saw a green candlestick followed by a non-engulfing red, followed by an engulfing green. It's a very bullish thing. That's not something that we want to overlook. And I also want to look at Lux Algo here on the daily chart. We can see that Lux Algo is still bearish, and we've been in a confirmed downtrend from Lux Algo since the day that we started this downtrend. The day we started this downtrend, November 16th, that we really started the downtrend. November 16th was the day. That was the day that Lux Algo told us we were going into a downtrend, and it's been extremely accurate on the daily chart for Bitcoin and Ethereum recently. In fact, it has been for years if you go and backtest it. But right now it says we're in a downtrend. How can we get out of this downtrend? You'd probably need to see Ethereum move up to at least $4,200, if not $4,300. The reason for that is because that would get us above the trend catcher right here. It'd get us above the cloud right here in the middle, which if you go into Lux Algo, you can turn all these on right here. EQ cloud, that's that middle cloud. Trend catcher, that's that line right there. And if we get above that EQ cloud, then that would be potentially a reason to believe that we're about to go into an uptrend. But of course, Ethereum has some ground to make up from there. Looking down on the 4-hourly chart, though, I want to show you a few different things. Number one, the RSI is actually moving in a pretty healthy way. It's up here at 60, so that indicates the bulls are, they're doing pretty well right now. The bulls have set 3 higher lows. They've also set 3 higher highs, but we're not out of the woods yet. This is a short-term uptrend on the 4-hourly chart. I want to see if we're able to break this downtrend, because this is the biggest resistance we're facing right now on Ethereum, at least in my opinion. So be paying very close attention to that. Another thing I'll point out is this resistance right here. You can see a top here on the 12th of December, 16th of December, and then also here on the 21st of December. Both of those are converging. We call this convergent resistance in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. If you want to learn more about TA, you can check out our school down below. We talk about convergent resistance. This is an example of the convergence of resistance, and that does mean that this resistance right here around $3,900 for Ethereum is going to be very difficult to get through. So if you check your coin market cap here at 5 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock tonight and you see Ethereum's trading at $4,000, then you will know that Ethereum has broken some very important resistance, and that it is at least a little bit more, has a little bit more bullish confirmation than it did right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at Lux Algo also, because Lux Algo is giving us a very interesting signal. We have a buy signal, we have oscillator, we do not yet have trend catcher turning green. Trend catcher has been red ever since December 3rd, and it has been in a confirmed downtrend, except for a couple of false signals, very, very short false signals here, basically for the last month and a half. So if we see Ethereum break up to $4,000, we've already got 2 of the 3 confirmations on Lux Algo. We would want to see trend catcher turn green, and then just as I said on Bitcoin, I would want to see Lux Algo stay in a bullish trend uptrend for a week, 4 to 7 days. That's what I'd like to see. If we can see that happen and we start seeing Ethereum push up to 4,100, 4,200, 4,300, I'm going to feel a lot more confident in saying that we're going into a major uptrend. At the moment, though, we have not seen that happen, and I am waiting to see Ethereum prove me wrong. I want it to prove an uptrend, but it still has to do so. With that said, we're going to go ahead and move into one of the things that we've been really looking forward to talking about today. I'm going to bring Kelly in. I want him to introduce this topic, and then I want all of us to discuss it. Kelly, we've talked a lot about Solana, Polkadot, Bitcoin, Ethereum. We've talked about fundamentals on-chain. There's a lot that we can throw at people, but at the end of the day, everything that we've just talked about is simply data that we use to make decisions about how we set up our portfolio. So what can you give people as non-financial advice, but just a friendly tip about how to set up a winning portfolio in 2022?
Absolutely, and I think this is an absolutely critical framework for success, and that's why it's a part of the title for this video as well, because the way you set up your portfolio, one, should not be based on price, because we're not looking to get, we're diving into cryptocurrency, into blockchain protocols, because the start of it had to do with the decentralization. But the massive gains that come with this, and us, changing our entire investment portfolios and strategies very much centered around crypto, has to do with getting away from the fiat dollar. So don't be so concerned about getting the most dollar, fiat dollar or euro gains, with your portfolio. You also want to, of course, you want to get those gains, because at some point you're going to take profit and spend that fiat. But the best way to set up your portfolio is to balance it where you have very strong anchors of stable coins like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also have a broad portfolio that can give you access to gains against Bitcoin as well. So not only are you gaining on the fiat valuation of your portfolio, but you're also gaining against Bitcoin. So there's a graphic that I have in there if you want to pull up. This is just one portion of, and as he said, as Jebb said, it is critical to have multiple different portfolios and different ways that you invest in. So I have a long-term hold portfolio. I have another portfolio I started last year just as a trading portfolio, and this is that, and it shows, you can see the critical point here is you see the percentage gains that my portfolio took over Bitcoin. So Bitcoin went up, sure, but my portfolio, because of the way it was set up, had massive gains in terms of the valuation that I could then take profit out of into Bitcoin or into fiat. And the way you structure that, Cryptos RS George has a great way of doing it. Mine's a little bit different. He does 50, 25, 25, which is 50% Bitcoin, 25% Ethereum, 25% a mixed mash of other stuff. For me, I'm a little bit more aggressive, so this is going to have to do all with your own risk matrix. And for me, I like to have about a third in Bitcoin, a third in Ethereum, and then the other third you can break up however you want. You can layer it in some other layer ones that are going to gain steam against Ethereum and Bitcoin. You can layer in some mid-cap coins like Comp and Arweave, and lower mid-cap coins like Render, which has to do with decentralized cloud computing for the metaverse, stuff like that, for graphic rendering. And then also, it's important to don't just over leverage your account with risk, having 30% or 40% of your portfolio overweighted and unbalanced with some huge micro cap, because it's going to pop. Because the second you throw your money in there, you're actually going to lose a good portion of your portfolio. Yep. It's okay to have 1%, 2%, 5%, 6%. I wouldn't have any more than 10% of your portfolio in micro caps. But it's important to do that. And the last thing I'll say about this in terms of the way you can structure it, if you don't know what coins to get, that's okay. There's a lot of coins out there. So what you want to do is you can go and look at the different layers you're looking at. If you're looking at Ethereum, look at sub projects that work on whether it be DeFi or cross-chain platforms like Atom, Cosmos. And if you're on Polkadot, then you look at Pancake Swap, all the other different DeFi lending, all the protocols that work on top of that chain. If you're looking at Cardano is right now, I will tell you, for 2022, I would say Cardano is one of the ones I'm looking most highly at, because if you look at the metrics for the amount of development in 2021, Cardano far outpaces every single other project on there for the amount of development activity. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out on that. So if you believe in Cardano, then you start looking at all the other projects that are going to be a part of that ecosystem that develop on it. So then you go down the line, you got Cardano, and then you got Cody, which is one one of the, fundamental pieces that's going to make a lot of the different protocols work on the protocol. Then you got Charlie 3. Then you have all the different DEXs. You have Sunday Swap. You have CardAX. You have ADAX, all being released in the next month. Cardano has so much going on in this next year. And then same thing with Solana. Go down the list, go to DeFi Llama. Just make sure you have it weighted more heavily in Bitcoin and Ethereum, but definitely get divested, get some other projects on there so you can gain against Bitcoin and fiat.
And I think it's something that's very important. I think something else that's very important to add on to that is consider where you are in life. So I have been incredibly blessed in my life to have a decent sized portfolio. So I don't need to go and take out a ton of risk and try and go get 100x altcoins. But, I'm not in the same position that everybody is in. So I have set myself up with my portfolio management in a more conservative way. I'm okay with only doubling or tripling my portfolio every year. I don't need to go out and search for a 50x on my portfolio because I've already seen that happen. I'm in a different stage. So one thing I would encourage you to do is don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself to like a Crypto Jebb or a BitBoy Crypto or an Altcoin Daily or any of these guys. Don't compare yourself to us because we're not in the same positions. I'm not in the same position as them. I'm not in the same position as you. Play your own game and realize that you need to make sure that you are succeeding, that you're making decisions based on where you are. So if you're new to cryptocurrency and you've only got $1,000, maybe you want to try and use $50 of that and try and get something that pops off. But I would always encourage you to make sure that you have some stable space coins like Bitcoin and like Ethereum. They're not stable coins. And by the way, Kelly said stable. He meant stable space coins. Obviously, we don't think that Bitcoin and Ethereum are stable coins, but they are more stable blue chip cryptocurrencies that are the backbone and foundation of a portfolio. And also, I would encourage you, as I've mentioned before, Warren Buffett says, and Warren Buffett is worth $100 billion, so I'm going to listen to him. I'm not going to take his word for gospel, but I'm going to listen to what the man says. He says, anytime you invest in a stock or in a company, you own that company. You have fractional ownership of that company, so you need to know what's happening in that company, especially as you invest more and more. And the same principle should be true for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. If you're invested in an ADAX or an AVAX or an ADA or a Bitcoin or an Ethereum or a Polkadot, Solana, whatever you're invested in, you need to understand the project. So don't think you need to go invest in 100 projects. I personally try and keep myself invested in less than 10 because I can follow those. I'm invested in Chainlink and AVAX and ADAX and Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a Polkadot, a couple others, Cardano, and I can track those, but I can't track 100 cryptocurrencies. So those are just a few tips that I would give. Let me throw it to Tim, though.
And even kind of piggybacking that, everything that Kelly just talked about, Kelly, really quickly, how many hours have you spent studying what those projects are?
3,220,000. I spent a lot, and also I took my time when I initially invested years ago. I actually started with the hype cycle, so I actually don't blame anybody that jumped in with Shiba Inu or because when I started, I
did the same thing.
I had like 16 different altcoins, but then I forced myself to watch and learn TA and YouTubers and separate like books on trading, and I realized really quickly I was like, okay, I'm lucky that I got in when I did because everything was going up, and I immediately traded 100% of it to Bitcoin, and then I rode Bitcoin, and then I slowly divested into a diversified portfolio that I do reshuffle throughout the year.
Yeah. Well, my point I want to make, kind of throwing a good example, when you're playing basketball, you might make a basket where your eyes are closed and you're turned backwards. It might go in. What are the chances it goes in over and over and over and over? Not very good. But if you develop looking at the rim, if you develop a good form with a muscle memory, that's when your chances go up and up and up. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who have made millions of dollars investing blindly into something because someone else said they should do it. In this chat, guys, we're going to do the best we can, but we will never be able to prevent shill coins from being put in this chat. No YouTuber can prevent it. And how many times does someone hear someone say something really bullish and just automatically say, boom, I want in on that project. Someone else made millions. I can make millions. The good form in trading is, do I understand what is happening? Like Jebb just said, do I actually understand what the business is doing? Because that's what's going to be the difference in between you get in because it's rallying and then the price comes down. You're like, okay, I'm out. Maybe that project was just in a small little bearish trend before a massive explosion. You would only know that if you knew the project, if you knew the history, if you knew the fundamentals, if you knew the team that was behind it. But otherwise, you're going to find yourself, just because you make one backwards closed-eyed basket, if you keep shooting backwards and closed eyes, the amount of times you make it are going to be very slim. And unfortunately, what's going to happen is you're going to lose a lot of money, and then you're going to get discouraged, and you're not going to want to play basketball. You're not going to trade ever again. inform yourself, teach yourself, do your own research. Don't spread yourself thin with a lot of projects until you're ready, because you know each individual project itself.
Can I say something to that real quick?
Go ahead.
I just want to say, like, also, when you're doing, this is something that mistakes that I think a lot of people made, I've made. When you're looking into a project as well, don't just take their word for it and what they're promising the project to accomplish. That's the biggest mistake people make, because they'll say, well, I did my research. It says it's going to be the world's next this or the world's next that. You know, that is not a concrete thing. You have to dig deeper beyond that and look at what is the potential of actually achieving that? How good is the project? Yeah. How good is the technology behind it? How good are the developers? And so on. That is something that goes deeper than just saying, oh, do I think this is trying to accomplish something good or fix a good problem? You know, are they even primed to fix that problem?
One easy way to do that too is, and there's different sites for all this stuff. So one, use Google or use Bing or whatever it is that you use to search, and search for the project.
Please don't use Bing.
Use whatever you want. Use Ask Jeeves.
DuckDuckGo.
But search for the project you're interested in, and try to find on-chain data about it in terms of how like, for instance, Phantom is an example right now. I mean, I think they went from like 5,000 addresses a little over a year ago to they're up to, like, I think almost 2 million. So right now, although Phantom has had a huge raise in price in the last several weeks, I mean, over the last year, really, I wouldn't be adverse to still investing in it when it has a small pullback, because there's so much adoption going on. And then you look at the data of how much developers are putting into this and the amount of money they're pouring into this. That gives you a projected roadmap that there's some efficacy, and there's going to be some follow through on that.
So let me give you some advice that a luthier gave me. So a luthier is someone who works on stringed instruments like guitars and basses and violas and violins and all that. So if you guys don't know, I play the violin. I haven't played much in like 2 or 3 years. I'm self-taught. I learned how to play in high school, and the luthier told me something that is very applicable here. He said, instead of trying to practice 2 hours a day on Sunday, split that time up and practice 20 minutes every single day for the entire week. Same amount of time, but split it up over the week. Why is that? Because it means that you're going to have more repeating learning. Instead of doing 2 hours on Sunday and completely frying your brain and then not even touching the violin for the next 6 days, split it all up, even if it's only 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day over 7 days is better than 2 hours on one day, because it's going to give you more reps. It's going to give you more sets. You might even have less volume, but you're actually going to do better. And that's one of the things that I learned in exercise. Instead of working out 4 hours a day on Sunday, do a 30-minute workout, 4, 5, 6 times a week, and spread it all out, because your body can recover in between, and you can learn and you can digest all of that. And in the same way in cryptocurrency, don't try and just make one big trade. Don't try and just make one really solid investment. Split it all out and then have patience, because it's going to take time. But that's not a bad thing. Anything worth having is going to take time. To become a professional violin player, it's going to take you 10 years. To become a professional, to become a bodybuilder and to compete in Mr. Olympia, that's going to take you 10, 15 years. To become a professional YouTuber and have millions of subscribers, it's probably going to take you 5 or 10 years. To become a very successful cryptocurrency analyst, trader, investor, whatever you want to call it, it's probably going to take you 3 to 5 years, if not more. So don't try and think, okay, I'm going to make this one trade and I'm going to make all my money and then I'm going to be a millionaire. The best thing that I think you can do right now is just accept that it's going to take a couple of years. It might take 3 years, it might take 5 years. Accept that, and then guess what? If it comes faster, then great. You're pleasantly surprised. But if you expect that you're going to be a millionaire tomorrow, I can almost guarantee you, unless something crazy happens, like you win the lottery or you invest in the next Dogecoin that pops off, you're almost certainly going to be left disappointed. And then when you're left disappointed, you're going to want to leave cryptocurrency. And I don't want you to do that, because there's a lot of opportunity here. Invest in consistency. That's the point I'm making here. So with that said, let's go ahead and read some super chats, and then we'll bring this conversation back.
Let's see here.
Oh, and by the way, somebody said in chat pre-search. I love that. It's pre-research. Do your pre-search.
I did just see one $100 one coming from Matt C, but I think T-Shroom's still getting that one over here. So I'm going to read the other ones first. James Bowler wanted to follow. This is a long time you said this, but he said a video on all the Bitcoin and or crypto adoptions would be better. So we have something to show our non-believers, like a mini promo for Bitcoin crypto. That's exactly what we're working on, James, in the Why Bitcoin. There's going to be 6 episodes, T-Shroom. So yeah, we've only launched 1 episode of 6. And I don't know, for some, we might get to the end and be like, freak, this warrants a 7th episode too. We'll see. 6 are planned.
We'll probably rest on the 7th episode.
I don't think.
Yeah,
You're muted, Smay.
I clicked the wrong button.
Yeah.
I would like to. I'd like to throw out a tease, maybe a little bit tease. I feel like I should be able to do this. All right.
Okay.
So say you have why Bitcoin, right? We've told you the why. You know, maybe not do a 7th episode. Maybe we follow it up with how to Bitcoin.
Maybe.
Maybe just
so.
thoughts. Just sprinkle.
Hey guys, tweet at us. What would you like to see after Why Bitcoin in the same format of, scripted and highly edited that comes out once a week? Tweet at us at CryptoJebb. Tweet it at me. Tweet it at Tim. The Crypto_beard. Tell us what you would like to see next. We got the next 5 weeks already planned out, but after that, we're all open for ideas.
Yeah, we had another super chat from Brian Dost. He said, "Wasn't a jab, Tim. What's your Twitter?" I came at him a little hard. Brian, I'm sorry. Just love giving Miami fans a hard time, and it's coming from a Hokie fan. You guys give me a hard time whenever you want. He said football talk. You know what? And I'm sure more than half you guys don't even care. I might start talking more football on my Twitter with crypto. So if you guys want to talk football and crypto in one place, go follow me on Twitter. The Crypto_beard. We'll keep moving on though, because I know a lot of people could care less about that. Couldn't care less about that actually. We have the $100 donation from Matt C.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Reflect over this year. It's a new year. And Matt C is still the GOAT.
How much do you think he's donated over the last year?
I don't know.
He's probably donated
he's
legitimately probably donated about $2,000 to the channel.
I love
That's
Matt
crazy. Thank you, Matt C.
We need to do webinars again just so I can go see Matt C.
Yeah, for real. I know. It was so good talking to him.
Matt C said, "I've been watching your show, watching you for nearly a year now. When I think Jebb was only on screen, the only one on screen, and now there's an entire team contributing every day. What an amazing year of growth for all of us. And I know 2022 is going to be even better. Thank you for everything."
You guys are going to be feeling like you're watching a next Netflix documentary series.
You know
by the
what's
end of this
crazy
year, guys.
though?
We got so much stuff being developed.
We're approaching the year anniversary of Coffee and Crypto on February 9th. I looked it up. February 9th is the official anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We'll have to do something special for that day.
Yeah.
And just so, if there's any new people watching, that doesn't mean this channel has only been around since February 9th.
No.
I've
November
been
16th,
watching.
2017 was the first video.
Yeah,
that's a while.
that was just when the show.
When Coffee and Crypto started.
Yeah, the full package, and then it just keeps getting better and better.
That's the first episode of Coffee and Crypto, and at that point it was just Jebb. There's another anniversary for when pretty much the three of us came together and made the show, which that's a special day.
Speaking of what I was just talking about, Greg in chat. So Greg, for those of you who don't know, is our
sales
he's kind of our head of sales rep. He gets relationships with stuff. He just said there's a webinar coming in February. I didn't even know that, so that's cool. So if you want to see our faces go in February,
there's a webinar
the other thing is
up.
even sooner. You will not be able to see my face or Smay's face or Kelly's face or T-Shoom's face. But if you want to see Jebb's face, Jebb is going to be at the Miami Bitcoin Conference here in, what is that, 2 weeks?
2 weeks, yeah.
In 2 weeks.
I'm going to be in
on
Miami.
a Friday, Smay and I, Kelly's going to be gone, so it's going to be a Smay and Tim show.
Yep.
I don't know if anyone else will even be in office to be on the show, so it might just be Smay and Tim.
Yep.
Because Jebb will be driving to Miami.
Yep.
So.
By the way, guys, if you want to see us in person, this will be the first time in the 4.5 years we've been running this channel that there's ever been an official way for you to meet us. Now, I've met 6 subscribers that I've met in person, just recognize, or 7 actually, that I've run into, and I try and remember everybody's names. I love it. It's so rewarding meeting you guys. But oh my gosh. Yeah, you can ask Tim. Every time I meet somebody, he was there one time when I met somebody at a hotel a couple weeks ago. I love meeting you guys. One of my favorite, most rewarding things that I do. But if you want to meet us, or myself anyway, and Greg and a couple other people on our team, Shannon, our chief marketing officer, and Zach, who edits all of our, who edited the channel trailer and everything. If you'd like to meet us and a part of our team, then make sure to sign up for the North American Bitcoin Conference. It is on January 17th. You can get 20% off on your tickets down below. We have press passes. We're going to be able to go backstage. Hopefully we'll get some interviews with some pretty cool people. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I cannot wait to see your smiling faces whenever you purchase your ticket down there. Not only do you get 20% off, you also help to support this channel. So let's keep moving here.
Yeah. We have 2 super chats. I'm not going to read them. There are some coins, some shield coins in there. And again, I really want you guys to know we try really hard not to shield any projects. So if we're not really sure what it is, we're definitely not going to shout it out. Cloud Hunk did put at the end of it, though, I'll read the last part of it. P.S. More Smay, please. I feel like today was a good healthy dosage of Smay.
Yeah, you got a healthy dosage of Smay.
That Friday that, what's the date again that you're gone? Friday you're leaving?
For
17th?
the 17th, yeah, I'm gone.
There'll be a lot of Smay on
You're
the
going to get your fill.
Yeah.
Well, the 17th is a Monday, actually.
Oh, no. So whatever that date
Yeah, I'll
is,
be gone, I think, 3 days, actually.
So the other one is from a guy whose name is 0x369. So, and again, he wanted to show a project, so I'm not going to read that. But thank you for the donation. It helps. Every little bit helps.
Yep.
And that's all I have so far. T-Shroom, did I miss any?
Yeah.
No,
No,
you
we're
are
good. Cool. Also, T-Shroom, real quick, T-Shroom, it's been a minute since you got to chime in. Anything you want to say about anything we just talked about? Because people do want to hear your voice.
I mean, I really liked what Kelly was saying about the portfolio diversity. We talked a little bit about it before we came on the show. You know, it's a brand new landscape of investment, crypto. And, you know, as all these level ones, you know, populate and then projects are built on top of them, it is really important to understand the dynamics of not only what those unique projects do, but also what the level 2 projects built on top of them aim to do and how they're competing. Usually it's minimizing fees and increasing the speed of transactions, and just understanding, you know, how those play into the price movement of those coins as well. So, you know, but Kelly said it really well, and he's obviously much more studied. But I found that really interesting, and I must say that in all the stock investments that I've done in the past, it's very easy to get let your emotions get way too much involved in the trading that you do. I'd say that I'd like to get you guys' opinion on this as well. I'd say that trading is probably 50% emotional control. You know, and professional traders know that the more you can get emotion out of your trading, the more profitable that you'll be in a pretty normal market. And so what I would say is, you know, as you're trading, don't just focus on the wins and losses and try and get too deep into the numbers and the weeds. Also look into why you may have made the mistakes that you made, or why you made the gains you made, and what was going on in your life that was making you more stressed out or less stressed out, or in the right mindset or in a troubled mindset, to where you can predict in the future, okay, I'm going to be, the example that's coming to mind is I'm having some issues in my, you know, romantic relationship. Okay, maybe I should kind of hold back on making any, you know, bigger trades, any big decisions.
Yep.
And, you know, that I think will provide a lot of clarity in moving forward. And maybe this will be the first time you've ever reflected on your emotional state, and, you know, got to take a first step sometime.
It's like
So
driving. It's
it
like
really
driving.
is.
I mean, like literally, it's like, hey, if you're like, there's so many things that say, hey, if you're under the influence of this, you're under the influence of that, you probably shouldn't drive. Hey, if you didn't sleep a lot, you probably shouldn't drive. If you didn't, you know,
If you're impaired in any way, you should probably not operate a motor vehicle.
Exactly.
That's
I
a
feel like
really good analogy.
That is literally the same as trading. Hey, if you're a little tipsy at a little crazy night, maybe don't jump on Coinbase and make some
trade
trades.
drunk.
or if you just had a
you're
really
feeling
bad
silly.
if you had a really bad breakup and you're just heartbroken and you're
gonna go trade $100,000.
Don't go trade. All right.
Yeah.
You know, be in a good state of mind where
good
you're able
point.
to control
Yeah.
your emotions and you're not going to act out of passion.
And learn
good
also
point.
from Kelly's testimony when he paid his tuition in crypto, right? He had
Yeah.
right. He
My
tried
huge
out.
leverage loss
Choose a
was.
load.
Well,
I
but-
learned more from that moment than any other trade I ever made.
And the important part of that lesson to me is that you were doing really well as when you first started off in leverage trading,
Yep.
and that euphoria is as dangerous as a depressive state that your mind could be in. The euphoric state will make you more greedy, right?
Yeah, have your time
yeah.
horizon, have your target, have your plan, execute it, repeat. Have your target, have your time horizon, have your plan, execute
And
it.
have patience. Well, guys, that's all we got other than the super chat. So let's go ahead and read the
Let's
super chats.
and then predictions.
And then price predictions.
Yes.
This is true.
All right,
Let's
so
do
we'll do
it.
predictions. I still need T-Shroom's prediction, and then Jebb, you obviously get to give yours as you
Live.
want to go. All right, so we have one from Eric Vig saying, "I smell weak hands. Gimme, gimme, gimme." So I don't know. Was there in chat? Was there some
Buy the
negativity?
Bitcoin. I think he's talking about just the price action of Bitcoin, maybe.
Maybe. I mean,
By the way,
we're
guys,
kind of
if you're-
rejecting right now, but
If you're enjoying today's show, subscribe to the channel. We come live at you 5 days a week for Coffee and Crypto here, and we got some really awesome series launching in the next couple of weeks. In fact, one launched last week. Go watch Why Bitcoin if you haven't already.
yeah, Kevin Barani said, "Love the vibes, vibes."
Oh, well, I'm glad you love the vibes. We're trying
the
to give you.
vibes.
We're trying to give you good vibes. Glad.
Yeah, and the last one I see here that just came in from Michael Miller said, "What do you guys know about the upcoming Raven coin having in January?" I don't know.
I have not followed Ravencoin's development. Kelly or T-Shroom, do either of you have any thoughts on that?
I haven't followed the development, but I mean, I used to own. If I had
Ravencoin's an OG crypto.
It's
Yeah.
it's 2016, 2017. I don't know what development's happening on it, but
Yeah.
Yep.
It's one of the biggest gainers in the last 24 hours, up 22%. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and do those price predictions.
We do, yeah. So, Jebb, you are up first.
I'm up first.
I have T-Shrooms.
So the rules of the game, we are predicting what the price of Bitcoin is going to be at 9:30 Eastern on Friday. This is for fun, not for trading. We are simply seeing who will come the closest. And it's always fun because the winner gets the HODL trophy and all the prestige and power and honor that comes with that. So where do I think Bitcoin's going to be?
Yes.
I think that Bitcoin is going to be at, let's see here. This is the price is right in crypto. The US dollar, the Bitcoin is right. I'm gonna say $45,500.
No way. Oh my goodness.
What did you say?
45.5.
45.5. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That puts Jebb as the lowest by the one hair.
Really?
I am the second lowest with
can't say it.
45,700.
You're what?
45,700 was my prediction.
Man.
So you are the lowest predictor at 4,500 at 45.5. The highest is Kelly. Wow. Kelly is at 49,821.
Oh, okay.
If this says anything about it, I might know something or two about
okay.
the price.
Hey, listen, you win it once. You don't get too hot and heavy.
Hey, I got to double it up before I head back to my lady back in New York.
We will see. I'm liking Jebb and my head.
I like our head,
I think Jebb and I are on the right track here. And
it.
it's okay because it's still, what I'm saying is still bullish. We'll get to that 49 later. But you're the highest at 49,821. T-Shroom is right behind you at 4,900. And unfortunately for T-Shroom, Smade's right behind him at 48 and $69. So T-Shroom definitely has the smallest window to win. Might not be a good going away party for you.
Oof.
We'll see.
We'll
sorry.
see.
Well, we flopped it. I think last week I was the lowest. This week
You were. We flipped it. But here, I'm going to reread them in order so everyone knows.
Let's hear it.
I want to hear you guys. You can put it in chat, but make sure in the comment section, put what you predict Bitcoin will look like Friday at 9:30.
Yep.
If you are with Kelly, Team Kelly, and you think it's going to be 49,821, give or take pretty much 50,000, let us know. T-Shroom thinks 49,000 even. Smay says $48,069. Tim says 45,700, and then Jebb says 45,500.
I kind of like my position.
I know you are in a good spot.
I like my position.
You're in a good spot.
I like my position.
Let us know what you guys think. That's all I have. I don't think we have any more super chats. We're good to go.
Guys, if you enjoyed today's show, do a couple things for us, if you will. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the post notification bell so you'll be updated for all of our new content, and make sure to check out all the links down below. If you guys want to go to the North American Bitcoin Conference so that you can get to meet us, and then by the way, it's just a great conference as well. The link for that is down below. You can get 20% off there. Lux Algo, you can get 20% off with a coupon code Jebb at checkout. You've seen Lux Algo in this video. You've seen how much we use it. You can also sign up for TradingView Premium with the link down below. That helps to support us. And if you want to learn how to do technical analysis in the way that we've just shown you in this stream, you can sign up for the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. That is where I teach you guys everything that I know about technical analysis. It's been active for over 3.5 years now, and we've helped thousands of students become advanced technical analysts so that they can go and make their millions here in cryptocurrency. So make sure to check out all those links down below. Before I go, though, guys, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.